It's all around us, from the clothes we wear to the cash in our wallets. It's the most used fiber on the planet. Cotton. With over $25 billion a year, the United States is the #1 exporter of cotton in the world, and no state grows more cotton than Texas. Cotton is the state's leading cash crop, and many rural communities depend on it for their survival. Communities like this one, just a few miles north of the Mexican border, right between Hidalgo and Willacy counties.
Hey everybody, I'm Wesley Willis, and this is Discover Texas. In today's episode, we're here in Hargill, Texas, to take a look at the town's best-kept secret, the Hargill Growers Gin. This gin has been operating for many generations and has proven to be very beneficial to many local farmers. So, let's take a look.
It's time to hit the road and discover Texas with Wesley Willis. Get ready to travel deep into the heart of the Lone Star State, meeting friendly folks and exploring fascinating places. Experience a way of life like nowhere else in the world as we uncover the rich history and culture of Texas. Discover adventure, discover excitement, discover Texas with Wesley Willis.
It's late July. The sun rises over the town of Hargill, and with it comes the promise of a sweltering hot day. Driving into town on FM 490, it's hard to miss the cotton gin standing tall against the horizon. It's laid dormant for most of the year, but the harvest season is about to begin, and that means it's time to throw off the tarps and dust off the equipment. The machines are checked and double-checked, as they have been every year since 1952, when K.W. Bonham opened the Hargill Growers Gin for the first time. Back then, this 1 square mile town was booming with business. A Chevy dealership, a John Deere dealership, and even a hotel called Hargill Home. It was a prime stop on the railroad from Raymondville to Edinburgh. Farming was a big deal. Cotton was king, and the gin was at the center of it all.
My name is Vicki Shields. I'm one of the owners here at Hargill Growers Gin in Hargill, Texas. My father, my grandfather were here. My son has joined us now, so it's now the 4th generation. I've never lived in Hargill, but since we've had the office here since before I was born, I've probably spent more time in Hargill than I have in any other town. You know, I grew up coming here when I was a small girl with my grandfather, and then I would beg my father to go to work with him. I'd come out and I'd sit here and just watch the farmers coming in and out, and it was really a lot of fun. It was a great way to grow up. Cotton has really been a benefit in the Hargill community. Most of our gin crew lives here in town. We've had 2 head ginners that were from Hargill.
There are 9 people to actually run the cotton gin inside. Outside, of course, we have the module truck driver, we have the scale person, and of course the office staff, but 9 men to actually run the cotton gin. My name is Bruce Shields. I'm an owner here. My partner, my wife is my partner. We own it together. I started here 35 years ago, scooping Milo at the grain elevator. I've been in the community all my life. I've been on the gin yard 35 years. It's been a great experience for my life.
Margie Pollock has fond memories here.
This is where we all worked every summer. There was no way to go to town, so we all were employed here. And after the ginning season, they'd have a big barbecue with lots of live music, and everybody come to the barbecue. It was a big deal. And this is where I met my husband, here.
I loved the barbecues. The whole town would turn out. We had live music and lots of food going, and it was just so much fun.
The decades have seen many neighbors come and go, and more than a few businesses have shut their doors. But the Hargill Growers Gin is still running. It takes a lot of know-how and elbow grease to keep this 70-year-old equipment working. Parts are hard to come by, so it's best to have any repairs done now. Everything has to be in tip-top shape because in just a couple of weeks, this yard will be full of cotton. While the season here is just about to start, the local farmers are finishing up months of hard work in the fields.
Cotton in the valley, you really need to get it in as early as possible to try to beat the hurricane season. You need to get it out before the hurricane season. So for sure, you need to have your cotton in by March the 20th. We try to get it in by March the 10th, and we'll start planting in February if we can. My name is Mark Willis. I've been farming for about 30 years in the Rio Grande Valley. I believe I started in 1988. My dad started in 1958, and my granddad started his farming career in the 40s. So I'm a third generation farmer. Cotton is a staple down here in the valley, and it's what most people grow. Acre-wise, we farm most of the time around 2,000 acres. I prefer cotton over other crops, mainly because it's more of a challenge for me. Of course, a lot of work goes into it. Most of the time, I'll get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, and especially when we're irrigating cotton, I won't get home till about an hour after dark. We might be running 14 or 15 heads of water at one time, and that just requires checking it all day long. You just can't quit. Every insect in the world likes to eat cotton, and worms, although we have worm control built in that cotton now. Yes, it does get very hot. I mean, you have to just keep on. 100 degrees is nothing. You used to it. So, I mean, it's labor intensive for sure. Even compared to other crops, it's hard to find another crop that has more labor involved in it than cotton. But it's a great challenge to grow the cotton. And most of the time, it's more profitable than other crops also.
Your preference is to harvest a boll of cotton that has never seen rainfall. When the rain comes, not only does it create a deterioration, a rapid deterioration, it also stains the cotton. All of the dried up chlorophyll, all of the brown that you see on the husk will stain the cotton. And so that's a problem. That's a problem.
Timing is key. It's important to pick the cotton before the weather has a chance to ruin the quality or reduce the yield.
Well, of course, depending on the weather again, but if you put a 6-row baler picker in there now, that picker in 2.5 bale the acre cotton can probably pick about 80 acres a day. So if you have, 3 round balers in there, they're going to knock off a good chunk of land, probably 240, 250 acres a day.
These cotton balers pick the cotton, roll it into plastic wrap modules, and place it in the field for pickup. Some bales are round, others are square. Module trucks can pick up either. They load up the cotton and haul it off to the gin. And that's where we're headed when we return.
Hold on to your hat. We'll be right back.
Can you believe an entire multi-billion-dollar industry starts right here? What the world sees as an indispensable resource is just a means to an end for the cottonseed. Long ago, cotton seeds were a lot like dandelions. They would sprout fibers to catch the wind, flying far away so they wouldn't have to compete with the parent plant for resources, ensuring survival of the species. Farmers domesticated the plant, and generations of selective breeding resulted in longer fiber and more of it, a lot more. These days, the seeds may not be flying anywhere, but the species is surviving better than ever.
What we raise as a cotton farmer is seed. That's what we raise. The cotton fiber is a little add-on that comes with that, because without the seed, you won't have the fiber. That's where it comes from. Every fiber is attached to that seed. The bottom bolls on a cotton plant are the thickest fiber, and that is measured. It's referred to as micronaire. It's how thick the cotton fiber is. There's a discount for that. The government has a discount for everything, and the thickness of the cotton is one thing that is a pretty stout discount.
Quality does play a factor in it, because you can either have deducts at the end for low quality cotton, or you could have a premium price for higher quality cotton. What you want is your micronaire to be in the right range, and also the length of each cotton fiber plays a huge factor, as does the strength of each one of those fibers.
So the more time that boll has to mature, the thicker the fiber is, and that's not always a sought after item, depending on where the cotton's going. Some people on a particular year will need high micronaire cotton. They'll have a market for a tough fiber. If they're making towels, making some kind of rag, they'll want something heavy. But when it comes to making fine garments, they don't. They want a thin fiber, and they can stretch them out.
A farmer really cannot tell. All that cotton samples get sent up to Corpus Christi to a classing office. And that classing office classes it, and determines the grade that you're going to get for that cotton.
And do you ever find out the grade that they decide on?
Yeah.
What's the timeline between that?
Well, that cotton, once it's graded, it can be graded within days. Within days of that cotton being ginned, you'll know the quality of cotton that you just got through picking.
But in today's world where gins are bigger and ginning so many bales of cotton, the objective is to cram cotton through. And they lose the hands-on touch. As I mentioned, I like to gin cotton at 5.5% moisture. That's not the norm today. The norm today is to dry that cotton down to 2% because it runs through the gin so much faster. And then they put the moisture back at the end to get it back up to that 5.5 or 6%. It's terrible for the fiber. It's terrible that the farmer has to suffer those deducts and those ramifications of what the gin needs to do in order to cram so much cotton through. Being that a third of the crop is mine on any given year, I know what's going to happen at the end, and so I try hard for my own cotton, which I take care of everybody else's just like I take care of mine. But it's, to me, very important. The quality control is very important. I want the hands-on. I want to be able to tell these people, this is what I saw, this is what we did, and this is what the outcome is.
Taking proper care of the cotton and the farmer starts here on the gin yard.
We pick the module up out the field, we bring it onto the gin yard, weigh it, tag it, identify it, landowner, farm serial number as such. Set it on the yard. We block our growers together so that when we start ginning on a grower, we can remain on him for a day or two or three, as many modules may be stacked up. The advent of modules has allowed us to bring this cotton from much greater distances. In years past, there was as many as 100 gins here in the valley because we all put cotton in trailers and you didn't want to haul it more than 5 miles. And so there was a gin on every other corner. Now, with the advent of modules, we're able to move this cotton much greater distances. It's much more efficient, and this has allowed us to expand our area. The module has been a revolution in the cotton industry, not only because of the being able to move at greater distances, but because it allows us to store it on the gin yard. I'm not pressed to gin cotton so fast anymore. I can utilize lesser people. I used to run 24 hours a day because my objective was to empty cotton trailers. Now with modules, I can keep the crew that I want. I can run 12 to 15 hours a day and stretch out the days. We used to use the bread loaf looking module that we're accustomed to, the square ones. They're not square, but people refer to them as that. Now we've even advanced into the round bale, the hay bale looking module. Actually, the module itself came out of South Dakota, out of hay. They were making hay ricks, moving them with a truck similar to what we use today with all of the chains on it that y'all see running up and down the road. Texas A&M some 20 years ago thought that idea would work well with cotton. It has proven fruitful. It works very well. But yes, it's interesting, when the first module trailers came to the valley, they were made in South Dakota, which those people have never seen a stalk of cotton in their life. You know, how did this come about? But it came from the development using a hay rick and moving it over into the cotton industry. In each one of those cotton modules out there, there will be between 14 to 16 500-pound bales. It takes roughly 1,400 pounds of seed cotton to make a 500-pound bale. The balance being trash, moisture, sticks, burrs, and dirt. And so that's our job, is to remove that. That's my living, is to take out the trash from the lint, put the lint in a bale. So our turnouts have changed over the years due to technology, due to advancement with the cotton genetics. We used to be happy with a 30% turnout, seed cotton versus lint, and now it's common to have 38 and 40% turnout. It means less seed to the grower, but the lint is much more valuable than the seed. So what we're looking for is the lint. Although we are growing seed, what we're looking for is the lint. And so those turnouts are a tremendous advantage to the farmer.
This entire operation is about separating the lint from that seed.
When we return, Bruce is going to give us a walkthrough of the ginning process.
Hold on to your hat. We'll be right back.
August in Hargill means one thing. It's ginning season. Over the next few weeks, the Hargill Growers Gin will be pressing thousands of bales of cotton. The employees here have to be at the top of their game. Not only are the days long, but the machines here can be very dangerous. It helps that this crew is well trained and very experienced.
Most of my men out here have been with me from 15 years on, some as long as 30 years. Okay. And so I've been blessed with my crew coming back year after year. We do have new men, of course, that come in and they have to be handled a little differently. We have to put them in what we believe to be a safe zone, right, so that they can learn that everything out there will bite you and take your hand off.
Yeah, that's scary. I mean, a lot of if you don't know how to operate it, I mean...
Yes.
Yeah.
Most of our crew, we've hired maybe 1 or 2 new guys within the last several years, but everybody else has been here 20 and 30 years.
Wow.
So they're long-term people.
Yeah. I was going to say, that's definitely loyal.
Yeah.
Like, you're looking for someone loyal, and they're going to stick around for 10 plus years.
They're awesome. Yeah, we have a wonderful crew. I can't even speak highly enough for them.
Is it people would work here based on if they were coming from an agriculture family, or it was kind of anybody was welcome?
Pretty much anybody was welcome, but it was easier to teach someone who was at least familiar with agriculture.
Right.
Somebody who's not familiar with agriculture doesn't understand that this isn't just a pile of white stuff. This is like money that's going back into a farmer's family. Mm-hmm. And so they understand the need to be accurate with all the records and all the stuff that they would do. So being from an agriculture family really made it a little easier for them to understand the process.
And that process begins with this.
We start off by picking the module up. We set it down. We can set 3 of them at our gin. We set 3 of them at a time in our module feeder. The module feeder is where the original single locking commences. We have to break it all up, and like I say, single lock. That's the way it goes through the gin. It's single lock.
And for each module to pass through, for that large of a module, when you're using the block ones, yes, how long does that take for it to go through the entire machine?
We try to run 20 bales an hour. And so if there's 15 bales in there, we can do the math. Okay. There we are. It takes about 45 seconds for cotton to actually go through the gin plant, but it takes 3 to 4 minutes to build a bale. And I use that term because we are building a bale constantly. When we'll see the press rotate, we are removing a bale, but there is a bale being built on the other side. So we're building a bale constantly throughout the day.
Yeah, yes. So there's no time being wasted, it's just...
That's correct, that's correct, yes.
Okay. With that, it was time to begin the tour. The cotton enters the gin at the suction bay, and that was our first stop. Here, the cotton is lined up and fed into the module feeder. The spiked roller rips the seed cotton from the module into single locks and drops it onto a conveyor belt.
Is our module feeder. It's moving towards us as we speak. It's single locking the cotton. It's dumping it on that conveyor belt, taking it off where we pick it up with air. We have suction, taking it into the gin.
So that machine is making its way toward us.
It is. Yep.
And so that's what these are here for.
That is correct. Okay. It's rolling on those tracks. Yes. Yep.
It seems simple enough, but things aren't so cut and dry. Not all cotton is created equal.
What's going on right now is this is what we refer to as stripper cotton. 85 to 90% of the cotton we gin is spindle picked.
Spindle picked.
Much cleaner than stripper cotton. A stripper removes burrs, leaves, sticks. It just takes everything from the plant and brings it into the gin. It's a much more difficult process to clean up stripper cotton.
The cotton looks so fluffy, I had to go feel it for myself.
Oh yeah, this one's so hard compared to the cotton in there.
That's stripper cotton. It's very rough.
Yeah.
Very rough cotton. Yeah.
Yeah, this one's rough, and then once it comes out on the other side, it has nothing in it.
Yeah, that's correct. That's what we do.
It's the best.
Yep, that's what we do. Seed cotton, we're metering into the gin. The cotton comes into the gin. This is the first metering device inside the gin plant. We regulate how much the module is being chewed up. Then we regulate it right here on how much is going into the gin. You can see it coming in real fast. It goes out real slow. It's
It takes an incredible amount of energy to keep the air hot and the cotton moving. All of that heat is generated right behind the wall in the furnace room.
Look up in there. See right there. Big fire. Big fire. The 3 million BTU burner. I have 4 of them. They run on propane. This is for the first stage drying right here. The hot air comes up, picks up the cotton into the tower dryer.
So this is the stage where you dry the cotton. That's all this.
Yeah.
Okay. This has 24.
24 shelf of which we're looking at the temperature, make sure it reads with our equipment. So we've got 2 24 shelf dryers. We come out of that and go into our first stick and burn machine. It removes just that, the large sticks and all the cotton burns. Once it comes out of that single machine, it goes through another pair of 24 shelf dryers. Now it's referred to as split stream. Our cotton is divided into 2 lines, and it's maintained in 2 lines all the way through the gym. So we can shut down one side and continue to operate on the other.
The gin stand is the heart of the operation. It's a simple concept that has stayed the same since Eli Whitney invented it over 200 years ago. The roller spins as its saw teeth grab onto the seed cotton and pull it through the narrow gaps. The seeds are too big to fit, so they fall down the front onto the floor, while the lint is brushed off the roller and pulled out the back. From this point on, it's no longer seed cotton. It's lint. The process is straightforward enough. Just be sure to keep your hands away from the sharp blades. Unless you're this guy. What's up with him?
What he's doing by rubbing his hand is looking for a imperfection in the roll. The seed is rolling all the time, and when he feels an imperfection, he knows he has a stick in there. That stick, if not removed, will cause a fire. The saw is spinning so fast, it will start a fire.
Bruce invited me to take a closer look. He assured me that it was perfectly safe. I was surprised at how soft it was this early in the process.
It's semi-cleaned at this point. The seed cotton goes in here, the seed roll is spinning, and we're ripping that seed from the fiber, from the limb.
I like this one.
Yeah.
I like this one.
And like I say, this is what Eli Whitney drew up some 200 years ago. I can't think of the year right now. But
That's pretty cool.
same principle, it just goes faster. Seed rolls, you see it turning, so it has to touch that saw 4 or 5 times to get all of that seed off. And the machine knows, well, the seed knows when it's clean. When there's no more lint, the seed automatically drops out.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
It knows when it's clean.
And then it just goes down there.
Nothing goes to waste. The seed goes out to a truck that goes to an oil mill. There, it's either crushed for oil or it's divided up into meal and hulls. Even the tiny lint left on the seed is useful. It's known as linters, and it's what's used to make paper money.
From here, this is all lint. I have a lint cleaner behind this gin stand. It comes out of there and goes into these lint cleaners. 2-stage. You can see the cotton through the window right there. What we're doing is allowing the cotton to explode so that it makes it even, thin, fast to go onto the lint cleaner saw.
This series of lint cleaners fine-tunes the cleaning, combing the cotton to begin the process of laying the fibers in the same direction. The idea is to get the fibers stretched out and laid together. That's how you make the material.
From there, it's coming down those 2 pipes into the floor and right up here. Right into the front. The bell is by the amperage on that clamper. It's set automatically. it hits that red line, a buzzer will go off. He knows it's time to look around, make sure it's clear, he'll burn the mark. He's got to be sure nobody's in the area. When it locks into place, there's an 18-inch round, 12-foot long, a hydraulic cylinder coming up from the bottom. We're back to building the next bale on the other side.
These guys were so fast it was hard to tell what they were doing. So Bruce showed us.
What they're doing is punching them together. You see the shape?
Yeah.
It'd help when I do it right.
Yeah.
So you got the two shapes. When it pulls tight, it makes a square knot. That's what holds it together. So he's placed the sample now with the tag in the middle, half from each side of the bale, placed it in the government bag. They'll come by every morning and pick those up and take them to Corpus. So the bale moved on to the scale, he's logged the weight for that corresponding number. It moves on out, he's already placed the tag on the next bale bag.
From here, the bales go to the Harlingen Valley Compress about 20 minutes away. They'll sit there in the warehouse until a buyer sends in an order for a particular grade of cotton. Cotton from many different gins are pieced together to fulfill the orders for their merchants. Whether they need rougher grade for denim or finer grade for garments, every piece of cotton has a place in life.
This cotton that you're looking at right here on the gin yard, those deals were established back September or before of last year. It is a year-long process to establish our gin run. It's 18 months a year. And we put 18 months of work into 12.
You know, every year is a big financial risk. And you get to the end, you don't know if weather's going to wipe out the cotton crop or not, but you've already got the money invested. So it's a risky life, but we love the people that we work with. Everyone we work with, the farmers that we work with, we trust them, and that says a lot. You know, they kind of all become a tight-knit family.
As summer comes to a close, the ginning season begins to wind down, bringing an end to these 15-hour days worked in triple-digit temperatures. And as the machines fall silent, if you stop and take a minute to think about the clothes you're wearing and everything that went into getting the cotton out of the fields and into your hands, it's kind of incredible knowing that it all came from a little town like Hargill, Texas. We want to give a huge thank you to the Shields family for letting us be here and all of the Growers Gin employees. We hope you enjoyed this episode.